All right, wonderful. So we've started the recording. Thank you all for participating in this year's annual general meeting. We've got a lot of topics to cover. Really looking forward to to really addressing a bunch of details that are new in regards to some of the community updates. We also have Councillor Stephen Dasco that's joining us this evening, so it's going to be a fun-packed event. And let me just see here. All right. So welcome. I'm going to turn off my video just so that it's not distracting. So threw up a quote here I thought was suiting. Essentially, the world is run by those who show up. And I really do appreciate everybody who has taken the time out of their day today and chose to come out and support the community, learn about what's going on, and really support the Homeowner Association. I'd like to really thank those. We've got about 60 residents, roughly, that have signed up onto membership. So it's great news. It was a big change that we struggled with, and based upon some of the changes that we're going to hear about tonight with the city affiliate status, it really drove us towards that. Lastly, I'd like to really thank the Shore board and volunteers for all their efforts this year, and hopefully we'll get this whole mute thing figured out, but essentially want to ensure that everybody on the call has an opportunity to speak, but in doing so that we're respecting others, we're avoiding interrupting people, staying on topic, and questions can be facilitated through the raising of your hand in the chat function as well. So 2 different options for that. So this is a quick look at the agenda that we have, and we've got a number of things that we're focusing on. We will be putting through 3 different motions for approval. We will be talking about some of the affiliate status changes, be addressing Shore membership, we'll be holding our election. We'll be doing a quick review of some of the events that happened and perhaps some that didn't. And I think part of the meat of the presentation is really into the community updates. We have some new news that has come out from MTO, new news in regards to MI5, new news related to Tenoli, and also reporting on different construction and developments that are happening. Let me proceed here. And okay. So I'd like to call to order this AGM, and based upon the amount of people that we have on and residents, I'm pleased to see that we've met our quorum, which is great news. And so the first order of business, I'd like to put forth a motion to approve the agenda of this AGM. And this will be the first exercise for everybody. We're suggesting that members will have an opportunity to basically approve or deny this particular motion. And so those in favor, if they could raise their hands. And we'll
Jamie, I'll just jump in and I will second that motion.
Perfect. Excellent. So Ryan, so you can actually talk. That's great news. So not everybody's moved or muted. Okay, wonderful. So essentially, this gives you a snapshot of the board in 2021. So myself, Jamie, I'm the president. We have Ryan Enright, who had been the past president in 2021. Chris Fior, he was new to our organization. The position of VP was open for the first 6 months of the year, and Chris was appointed by the board as the interim vice president in August. of this year, and was a big help, on supporting different events that we've had. So that was definitely good. Denise Morin, for those that know, she's our secretary, and Romeo Sinopoli as our treasurer. And so just wanted to basically provide an overall introduction. Normally, these types of sessions would be face-to-face, and you would have an opportunity to see the faces and hear the voices and that type of thing. But giving virtually, I just thought this was the best bet of dealing with this. So getting into it, the affiliate status changes. So this is something not really completely new to us. Prior to COVID, Shora had been affiliated with the city. And during COVID times, there were certain restrictions and things that we were asked to do that it really didn't make sense. We didn't have the same amount of meetings because of COVID. There really wasn't much going on. And because of that, we sort of fell out of the affiliate status. Now that things have opened up, we've taken the steps to become affiliated once again. And as the city tends to do, there's changes every year. And so this year we've got a few hoops that we've got to jump through in order to remain and become affiliated once again with the city. Some of those changes that the major ones anyways, we're required to add an additional member to the board, and we're required to update our bylaws. In those bylaws, we have added details to address conflict resolution. We've got new sections dealing with membership reporting, the voting process, code of conduct, and a membership form. These updates were sent to the city about a month ago, and we've worked with them. They have since been approved. And earlier this month, the Shora board had also approved these changes. Hopefully everybody's had an opportunity to see them. They are posted on the Sherway Homeowner website, and it's under the resources tab. And so at this point in time, I would like to put forth a motion to approve the changed bylaws, as well as the use of the code of conduct.
Jamie, I'll second you again.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for that. So that motion carries. And sorry, I'm just continuing to admit people on, which is it's great. Membership. So as I mentioned, this is a brand new thing for our community. We were one of the few homeowner associations in Mississauga and in Ward 1 that had yet to do membership. From our point of view, the board since 2016, and we kind of dusted off the Shora Association. Both Ryan and I were part of that. We had a number of thoughts on things that we could possibly do, but we always felt that at that time it was much easier to avoid membership, and we really relied on advertisers from newsletters, from our website, that type of thing, as well as different donations at events. And this year, holding the Family Fun Day, we really were able to step things up and recognize the value that, and really the time that we put into trying to raise funds, and really felt that if we could do a small enough nominal fee and provide enough value that it would appease the local homeowners, as well it would provide an ongoing budget that allows us to start planning much earlier. And as a direct result, I think we can provide a lot more benefit to the community. I think we can plan much better events and take our time in doing that, and provide more value back to the board. So some of the values of homeownership, and some of this has been published online, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it, but much like tonight, members would have the ability to vote and perhaps electing board members, passing motions, those types of activities. You'd also have the ability to participate in events, and in fact, we're not really limiting that to just members. We want to open it up to everybody. We don't want to punish non-members, and we appreciate those that value the community and want to support us in that. We will be getting back into regular habits now that COVID is slightly behind us, and we'll be doing more updates via email, newsletter, website, social media, that type of thing. And really the major point here that I take away from this is that, as a member, you rest assured that the group, so the Shore board and the broader group of directors and volunteers that we possess, we're fully committed to the community. Our job is really to advocate on your behalf, and we're really trying to preserve a sense of community and overall property values in the neighborhood. Those are really the guiding principles. Those are the things that, any decision that we make, we go back and make sure that they are directly aligned to those principles. As well, new members, if they join before the 18th this particular year, they would include an entry into the Deck the Streets Holiday Light Contest. So, Shore election, I'm going to turn this over to Ryan Enright to run this. And Ryan, if you will.
Hi, Jamie. Thanks for the floor. Jamie, since I've got everyone's attention, listen, I haven't had the opportunity to publicly congratulate you on receiving the 2020 Ward 1 Community Contribution Award. That the award was for doing more than what normally or generally would be expected, and you did that representing and doing work for the community of Sherway. So congratulations and thank you. Everyone's clapping; they're just on mute. You can't hear it. I just want to preface this board election to let everyone know Shora is a volunteer association and needs people in volunteer roles beyond just the board. If you have interest in contributing to Sherway Homeowners this year, please reach out to me or anyone else on the board. We will get you involved. We can't do it without you. So through the nomination period, we did not receive any nominations for president, secretary, or treasurer, or past president. And we received one qualified and vetted nomination for vice president. So without further ado, I will make the first motion for a one-year continuance for Jamie Pugh in the role of president. Jamie, do you accept?
I do.
And can I have that seconded?
I second it.
I'm not doing anything.
Oh, there you go, Romeo. So Romeo has seconded, and the motion passes because you're running uncontested. Congratulations, Jamie. I'm gonna make a motion for a one-year continuance of Denise Morin in the role of secretary. Denise, do you accept the motion?
Yes, I do, Ryan.
Wonderful. And I see Amy Matesic has seconded that motion.
Thank you, Amy.
So congratulations, Denise.
Thanks, Ryan.
I'm going to make a motion for a one-year continuance for Romeo Sinopoli in the role of treasurer. Romeo, do you accept the motion?
Yes, I do.
Wonderful. And do I have a second?
I second the motion.
Wonderful. Denise seconds, and so does Amy Matesic. So the motion passes. So congratulations, Romeo.
Thank you.
I'm going to make a motion for a one-year continuance for Ryan Enright in the role of past president. I'm going to nominate myself. Does anyone second that?
I'll second that.
Oh, thank you, Jamie. It's seconded, so the motion carries. Thank you. And we received a qualified and vetted nomination during the nomination window for Chris Fiore in the role of vice president. Chris, you've been nominated by Jamie Pugh. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
John Fiore seconds, and so does Denise. Chris, the nomination passes. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Is there anything you'd like to say, and not to put you on the spot, but a few words as the new vice president, official vice president instead of interim?
Sure. Thank you, Ryan, and thank you, to the board and members for giving me an opportunity really to get more involved in our community. Excuse me. I would just say I'm looking forward to helping out. I want to be involved in things happening in our area. I want to make this a better place for all of us to live and enjoy, really. I've been acting as the intern VP for Shora. I'd like to continue as your VP, and more importantly, I just want to help. I think we accomplished some really good things this year, and I feel like we have some momentum, and I want to build off that and continue it into next year. I've been a resident here for nearly 6 years. We really like the neighborhood. We've met a lot of great people and made a lot of friends. I have a family with 3 young kids, ages 5, 3, and 1. If you see us walking in the neighborhood, then you've seen our family grow over the last 5 years. And every time we turn that corner, it probably seems like there's another new addition to our family. So, we want to live here a long time. I want my kids to grow up in this neighborhood, and it's important to me, that I do everything I can to make us a better place for them. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for your vote and your confidence. And I look forward to contributing in any role that is available to me.
Well, congratulations, Chris. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
And with that, we conclude the election process. So thank you, everyone, for your patience. And Jamie, back to you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. And thank you, Chris. All right, we're going to take a quick run down memory lane here. We luckily had the opportunity to run Deck the Streets last year. And I know it was during COVID times, and we decided that we were going to go through with it. Following that, we ended up canceling a number of events just based upon lockdowns and things that happened and social distancing guidelines. We really didn't have much of an opportunity to engage the community really until the summer. And, Romeo Snopley, I want to give him some credit here. He had come up with this concept of doing our Sherway Ice Cream Day. We had partnered with Katie Wright, one of the local realtors who has supported us for a number of years. And we basically, we partnered on hiring a ice cream truck to go around and basically canvass the neighborhood and provide a variety of different stops. Was able to I think we had served I think maybe 600. I think Romeo was the number, and so it was something that as a first event, I think it was a great idea. We were allowing people to kind of come out of their homes. People were still social distance, and it was one way that we were able to find to be able to give back. In August, there was a softball tournament that had been organized by residents, and Shora had learned about it, I think simply through Facebook, and we were amazed that there was another group or individuals outside of ourselves that were actually organizing stuff in the community. And I had an opportunity to actually drop by, and I was amazed and felt a little outshined by the just the barbecue and everything, the way how everything was organized. And really wanted to thank Chris Fior for organizing that and really taking that concept and allowing us to learn more about how he managed to do this in the park without kind of getting kicked out and offending the city. And so we basically partnered together, and with the help of Romeo and Denise and Ryan and a number of other volunteers, we were able to do our first Sherway Family Fun Day, and had taken a lot of feedback from many members on the phone. For the folks that have been here for decades, there's been a lot of talk about picnics in the park, and it was always a very fond event that residents always look down and think very fondly of. We wanted to try to capture some of that and almost sort of a family reunion type feel where you've got a number of events on and that type of thing. We had a great turnout based upon the food that was served. We believe it was over 400 people that had come out, and the majority of that was definitely residents. There may have been a few grandparents and other things like that, which were definitely welcome, but It just goes to show that when you put the effort into organizing certain things, the community comes out, which was just absolutely wonderful news for us. We really wanted to provide a day that seemed somewhat normal, to folks. And, I can't speak on behalf of the board. We haven't met as of yet, but it's something that I think we would like to continue and to try to do more events that involves families and getting people out. So stay tuned for what's happening next year. Ryan had organized with his wife Emily the Halloween and Pumpkin Walk. Always a great event, really good turnout. We had just amazing pumpkins that it's the hours that went into them was just amazing. So something great to see, great for the kids and for the residents. Great opportunity to get rid of those pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns. You don't have to worry about your green bins. So Ryan, thank you so much for organizing that. As we look forward, we have the natural ice rink. We're waiting on the weather for that. Shora is we're in the process of looking at securing nets for it. So the ones last year finally gave out, and so that's something that we're looking at funding this year. We're also looking at the possibility of trying to find a liner for the rink. The size restrictions have really limited where we can get it from, but we are still looking. It's something that we're hoping to be able to do. The thought there is it is a fairly substantial expense, but it may increase the ice time by 4 to 6 weeks is somewhat that we're being told. So worth it. Next year, next June, we will have our tennis courts resurfaced and finalized. Councillor Stephen Dasko will be joining us shortly, and I suspect he'll be touching upon that. But the courts will be resurfaced, and they will have both tennis and pickleball lines on them, which is I think it's a great thing. It's one of the fastest growing sports out there, and it's something I think is going to get a ton of use. And really looking forward to seeing people in communities out and being active in those sense. Councillor Stephen Dasko has secured a series of chess tables, and I think Sherway and Applewood, there's a few different parks that he's looking at improving in Ward 1. And the idea there is that we would get a chess table with some like stone stools, and it's something that we would use during the summer months for chess, and perhaps try to incorporate into our ice rink during the winter, and just another spot that kids can put on and take off their skates and that type of thing. So really looking forward to having that and seeing people out and enjoying their time in the park. Middle Road Bridge is it's a project that has been in the works and planning since before Councillor Dasko was actually taken office. It was something that he had started and worked with Councillor Grimes on, and so it's really a joint project between Mississauga and Toronto, and it'll be looking at restoring the bridge back to its former glory. There is some type of structural work that's going to be done on the lower part, and we've been told that they're also focusing on cleaning up and filling, repointing the bridge, those types of things to try to make it look as it did, several years ago. So outside of that, the completion of QEW project number 1, and I'm really excited about this because I'm the one that lives directly across from the mess there, and I can't wait when my neighbors move out. We're being told mid next year is when project number 1 is going to be done. And I've got some more details on that, but it is progress, and I know we've endured and suffered for the last few years, and there's a plan for the Britanno Field, and it's going to be better than what it's been so far. So we'll get to that momentarily here. So getting to that point, MTO. So contract number 1. And that is something that's been ongoing for the last 3 or 4 years. It's going to end They're suggesting May 30th. The construction consultant that works with them, they're thinking maybe June 30th. There might be a bit of a month, delay in that. But what they're telling us today is that there may be some minor construction, some cleanup activities that will be happening over the next few weeks coming into the holidays. And it will go dormant as it has many other years in the past. In the spring, the contractor is expected to clean up and vacate the yard. And that's something that I know a lot of residents that I've talked to, everybody talks about how such an eyesore it is. And so I think everybody will be happy once that's done. There is still a section of noise wall that is yet to be completed, but it looks like they'll be tying that into the end of project number 1. Project number 2, contract number 2. It's essentially the same widening exercise that's been done up to North Service Road, and they're going to take the same concept and they're going to move towards Cawthra. One good point, and something that I've had to triple check with MTO, and any response I get has been very similar, so I can take some stock that it may be true. They basically publicly announced that the field, the Botano field, that will only be used for, I think they called it an off-site office location. They're suggesting that it would be used just for site trailers, and that equipment and any sort of materials are not permitted to be stored. So I will believe it when I see it, but I think it'll be progress for the neighborhood. It means there'll be a lot less vehicles come in and out. There won't be heavy trucks, and there won't be piles of, abandoned construction materials thrown everywhere as we see it today. An interesting point on that, the ramp, the North Service Road ramp at Brentano. So it's planned on being closed in 2024. And I had asked some questions around that. And the plan there is that they will remove the asphalt from the North Service Road ramp that will be abandoned at that point in time. They will replace it with soil and seed and basically sod that section. And then I had asked questions in regards to the adjoining noise wall that runs parallel with that North Service Road ramp, and was told that, it's going to be tore down and be replaced with a chain link fence. And so that will affect at least one resident today who has that as kind of a barrier to their property. So those are really some of the major changes. There were some additional details that were shared with me. So if there's anybody that wants to see firsthand, or if there's additional questions that anybody has directly tied to this project with the MTO, I'm very happy to cascade them out and continue to get feedback. I just wanted to ask whatever questions I felt weren't covered in the last pick group that was provided. I was quite disappointed in that session because there wasn't any real opportunity to speak. You couldn't really clarify any point that was given. And as a result of that, it was not the most effective meeting. So moving forward. So some of you may know of MI5. It is a company that's on the north side of Queensway. And I've been in touch recently with Ministry of the Environment, and they've shared the following details. So essentially, there has been numerous complaints that's happened on both the south side, so our side, as well as the north side, directly tied to MI5. And that the environmental officers have actually confirmed that one of the sources in the neighborhood is MI5. And they have a whole policy and a framework that they follow to allow MI5 to really comply. And there was a period of time that had passed. Then they put forward a provincial officer's order. It was issued back in November 2020. And there was various work plans and different things that MI5 was asked to do. Following that, there were different reviews and a director order. So the way how I'm reading this and my discussions, this essentially is the Ministry of the Environment. They have found a source of odor. They've escalated once at an officer level. They've had additional meetings and run through, due process, and have sent out a subsequent director order. And what we're being told, early next year, the company will be expected to implement some type of approved odor assessment plan. And that's basically where we stand right now. And I'm not too sure really what we can expect of Ministry of the Environment. Quite frankly, I don't think they're in the business of shutting down companies. They're trying to mitigate odors and really work with overall industry to mitigate. But in terms of our level of expectations, I think if they can have them address it and make MI5's life a bit of a pain, then that might mean that this is taken care of quicker. So I continue to work with the regional supervisor of Ministry of Environment, as well as a new officer who has just recently been assigned to MI5 on this particular case. What they're suggesting is that they had asked MI5 to put in a plan to receive complaints directly. And I had to triple check this with the Ministry of the Environment, because it seemed completely the opposite to me. So you're allowing the offending organization to manage the complaints and report to the Ministry of Environment when it happens. And I guess it's part of their process. And so what I've been suggested we can do, we can call this number and complain directly to MI5. And if you're unsure of what the smell is, or you want to ensure that the Ministry of the Environment is receiving it, you can also call the odor complaint number. And I will share that. We'll put it up on Facebook and share it in email in our next message, so that everybody's got a reminder of what that number is and how that happens.
Hey, Jamie, it's Ryan. Can you let Councilor Dasco in? He's just in the queue to come into the meeting.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Thanks.
Yep. Has he joined, Ryan?
Angie Dell's on the meeting. She might be able to confirm.
Yeah. Okay. I just don't see him in the lobby.
Okay.
I'll keep an eye out, though. So next topic is Tonoli. There's been some major changes at Tonoli recently. For those of you that have been around for a while, there was a fire back in 2019. We had, our community had received the majority of the ash from that fire. And in the past, there had been a number of, sorry, I'm just adding people in. A number of people that had basically received the ash and had called about the smells with Tonoli. The major change there. So Ross was one of the major executives that we've been dealing with for years. He's since moved on, and so there's a new executive line that has come on and basically has purchased the old Tonoli company. They've basically sold off all the assets, and so the company that sits there today is TerraPure. They are purely a battery recycling company, and that's all that they do. They have this particular plant. They also have a Montreal plant, and between those two, they do the majority of the battery recycling in Canada. I've had discussions with them quite a few times this week, and really willed some details out of them. They're suggesting that they weren't aware of some of the things that's happened in the past, and they're really hoping that they can start fresh with our community. They really want to be engaged. They want to make sure that everybody feels safe in the community and that they're doing their part. We're trying to figure out what that actually means, and there'll be some meetings in January to really hash that out. But in the past, they weren't necessarily willing to invest in air monitoring stations. And there had been meetings with Councillor Dasco, who, thank you for joining, Councillor. I see that you've joined now, as well as our MPP, Rudy Cazzetto. And that meeting basically was around air monitoring. And one of the fallback positions from that was to do some random soil testing in our neighborhood. So we're still looking at trying to do that. The one thing that's somewhat frustrating is that there is a air monitoring station in Applewood at one of the local schools there, and Applewood residents, they don't know who Tenoli or Ratepayer is. They don't complain. They don't smell any odors. And here we are in our community where we are definitely I've confirmed with MOE, we are the one area, and there's another area that's to the north of us where there are some residents and businesses that are complaining. And so, we're still trying to push to see what we can do to get a monitoring station come in. And so what the Ministry of the Environment has suggested is that there was a compliance that had been done back in 2017, and the ECA, it was basically approved. And so from their point of view, they really don't think that Tenoli is near as a offensive company as MI5. And really their efforts at this point in time are really trying to nail down MI5. And they were suggesting that perhaps there are different smells, but, in their eyes, Tenoli was one that has always been compliant with them. And they haven't really found a lot that they can do there to try to deal with it. So we're going to basically continue to work with Ratepayer. What they're suggesting here is that in early 2020, there was a third-party consultant who was going to be hired by Tenoli. And they basically conducted a review, and they were using 2019 data. They're suggesting that the existing monitoring station at St. Edmund's School, that they capture the prevailing winds that blow into Sherway. And so what they're suggesting is that the air monitoring station at St. Edmund's is also covering us. Which is a bit odd because at one point in time, there was also an air monitoring station in our neighborhood. And if it was good at one point in time, I don't quite understand why it was, why it's not good now. But we're hoping to get to the bottom of some of these things as we continue to meet with them. But just rest assured that this is something that we are making progress on. It's taken 2 years and the main executive to have to leave Tenoli for us to really get some answers. But I think the timing is right. This organization appears to be much more genuine rather than doing stall tactics and those types of things. They immediately answered the phone and really wanted to learn the history. And again, so I would invite anybody that's passionate about Tenoli or may want to get further engaged with any sort of meetings and whatnot to let us know. And we'll try to include you as best as we can. Now we're dealing with some construction and developments. So Venta Road, sure everybody understands that, that has happened. Demolitions actually started. So everything has been approved by both the city and the LPAT. In discussions with local city planners, they basically tried to change my perspective and suggested that, our community should be expecting intensification along Dixie. There are certain things that make up a checklist for developers, and it deals with the width of the road. It deals with location to transit and, a number of other things. And Dixie Road is something that is seen as an area that should receive more intensification. And so there are properties that had gone up for sale. One has since sold just north of the Venta location. And, I wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing, more developments, perhaps the same developer. We've been told by different owners that there were, people that had been associated with the townhomes that were basically soliciting to try to buy properties along there. So I would expect that we're going to have more townhomes there. Really hoping that the precedent that was set at Venta doesn't come into our neighborhood. That was some of the concerns that were, stressed very strongly with the group. And, we can only look towards the future and see what we can do there to prevent those types of things from happening. The next project here to talk about is the daycare on Sherway Road and Dixie. And so, as everybody could see, that comes in that way. There's a building permit that has been issued. There's renos that have been started. I believe they started in November, and ultimately they're looking to transform the office building into a daycare. They're going to convert offices to classrooms. They're going to be digging out the full basement. They want to fill their pool and expand the parking lot. The parking lot was the only area that came up under the P&D meeting. I guess it was 2 years ago, Ryan, that we had gone to and had launched our formal opposition to. At that point in time, I think the council group understood the issues that our community faced, but could only weigh in on what was asked to change, and parking was the only element there. So in speaking to the owners, I think they now understand what our community's concerns are, and they're suggesting that they're looking at ways to avoid disruptions to our community. One thing they talked about was staggering opening. So they're looking to open next summer, and that they would not have all 50 kids there at one time. They would stagger that over a period of time. Another thing they talked to me about doing was trying to consider some type of blocks of time that a parent would be allowed to pick and drop off their child. And if they could schedule those types of things, then there would be a lot less disruption for them, for us as a community. And it would avoid, blocking traffic in and out of our community on Sherway Drive. So we will continue to work with this group. They will become part of our community, and there's nothing that we can do to change that. And so the best we can do at this point in time is figure out ways that we can work with them and mitigate further disruptions to our daily lives, trying to get in and out of the neighborhood. For Dixie Mall, there's been no formal application that's been submitted yet. And so we're still sort of waiting. Both Councillor Dasco as well as the Ward 1 Homeowner Association, so Applewood, Sherway, Orchard Heights, and Lakeview. We've all met, we've done surveys, and many of you had filled them out on kind of what your thoughts are on it. And we're waiting for a formalized application to come out before we can really do much. In stating that, though, the initial plan that was kind of tossed out there, it involved adding 15,000 new residents. And so, it will be a noticeable difference in our community once this is done. They talked about building upwards of 17 condo buildings. There's going to be a mix of everything from 45-story buildings through to 2-story townhomes. So it's going to be kind of a mixed use. But the sheer number of buildings and the number of stories that they were going for is something that many residents took exception with, and something that doesn't really fit into the local neighborhood. And so there's some strong opposition there. There's also a great reduction in the retail space, and they are putting in a park. That's great for their residents, but it doesn't really help anybody else. And so, again, we're continuing to watch that one and monitor. And there definitely will be a strong push and a united front of homeowner associations when that comes out, depending on what is suggested. All right, I am going to turn it over to Romeo Sinopoli to take us through the Deck the Streets contest.
Hi. Okay, so on Deck the Streets, so this event's been going on for several years, and it helps everyone into the community spirit and celebrate the holidays. As you've heard, this year it's partially combined with the membership drive, and it gives you the opportunity to win some great prizes. Earlier this week, there was a communication sent out. It listed the prizes, the businesses that donated, the agents, the real estate agents that helped out. Also, I want to thank at this point some of the residents that donated prizes. to add to it, this year we've got over 30 prizes, and some of the residents are Dill Mitchell-Moore, Carmen Rocca, Adam Fenich, and Grace Maniconi. These residents came to us, asked to help, donated prizes. It's great. So the more entries we are going to get now, the greater the odds of winning. What else do I want to mention? The draw is going to be held on Sunday the 19th. The winners will be shared with the community on Facebook. Email will be sent out. So if you sign up before the 18th for your membership for the following year, you'll receive one entry. We'll just call it the early bird entry into the Deck the Streets contest. On top of that, you could buy an entry for $10, 2 for $15, or 3 for $25, as some have. And again, you send that email transfer to the shoretreasure@gmail.com. You could drop it off if you prefer to just to cash or check. Just be sure to include your name, address, phone number, the email. The email will be used for future communications, just to let you know when events are going on. And and that's about it. So there's going to be lots of prizes this year. I go around, I take pictures, I try and put them on Facebook. I don't have everyone's, but there's been some chilly nights, some snow, so I'll try and get to everyone. And that's about it for Deck the Street. It's been going on for a few years, and last year was successful. This year is the same thing.
Great.
And so next, I guess I will cover the financial slide that's in front of you. So our revenue this year was close to $8,500. Very rare considering the circumstances with COVID and all the limitations. It was a good year. Most of the revenue this year we received consisted of donations. They came from Katie Wright, John Kelly, Toronto Zenith, Stephen Dasco. We even got one from Precious Metals. If anyone recalls, last fall on Proverbs, they were filming for a couple of days. They came to us and said, we like to help out the community, and they provided a donation. And residents contributing at events just to support the cause, they came by and helped out. The revenue was also generated by auctioning off the street signs. That raised $3,300. A big thank you there goes to Stephen Dasco for getting us the signs. This is a one-off. It's not something that's going to happen every year unless we change the signs again. If not, I mean, this was something really great that he was able to do for us. And Deck the Streets last year, we got close to in and around $800 again to contribute to the to our revenue. Our expenses or outflows, we spent $600 on the ice cream truck. That was the joint venture with Katie. Katie again did the ice cream truck during the Family Fun Day, but that was on her own. Some of the money we provided Chris Fiore with $200 when he ran the first baseball event in the park. Him and his team that put it together, we contributed there. And then another $1,500 of expenses were related to Family Fun Day. We had to get things like the bouncy castle supplies, permits, insurance, food, masks, sanitizers, all that stuff. That adds up. But at the same time, we also want to thank M&M Meats and No Frills. They contributed food and certificates to buy the food, the buns, the condiments. So when you're out supporting them, that's I'm sure that they'll appreciate it. Another thing is also Toronto Zenith. They contributed again. They provided the porta potties, which helped in reducing expenses for the event. Other expenses consisted of admin-related expenses such as the website, printing costs, flyers, and prizes to provide for these events. Overall, it was a great year for sure. Amazing. We increased about $5,300. So, everything happens at once. It allowed Shora to build a little nest egg for the future, maintain a balance for future community issues. And there's going to be events going forward. And hopefully with this COVID behind us, there'll be a lot of great times. So that's basically it for the financials. I'd like to put forth a motion to approve the Shore financials at this point. So if those in favor could raise their hands.
Hi, Romeo. It's Ryan. I'll second your motion.
Thank you. Great. Anyone opposed? Okay, so following a brief audit, following a brief audit, we'll announce a decision, but it looks like the motion will have passed. And that's it for me, Jamie.
Perfect. Thank you, Romeo. Really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Stephen Dasco, really thank you for coming on board. I know you got a busy night. Hopefully you haven't been talking all night long, and you've got a bit of time that you can dedicate to this community.
Hi, Jamie. Hi, everyone. Absolutely. It's great to virtually see everybody, or at least see people's little tiles and everything up. It's I can't believe a year's gone by already. It really seems almost like yesterday that we were that we were holding. I guess it was our first virtual meeting. So great to see everybody, and congratulations for coming back on the board to Jamie and Ryan and Chris, Denise, Romeo. So it's amazing to see how much work and what this dedicated group really does for the community. It's pretty incredible. So I just give a brief update if I can. So I just wanted to make mention that I as well will be making a contribution to the Deck the Streets, and I'll be dropping off some of that stuff over to I think Santa's workshop this weekend. So we'll look to do that. With regards, I guess just a few things I'll run through briefly is early in the new year, I'll be hosting a meeting, and that's with the Commissioner of the Works Department at the region of Peel. And because I know that there have been questions and concerns about what's going on with traffic, intensification, things like that. And that goes anything from the daycare. I know that's been a cause of concern to the Venta development that's going in, and then some of the chatter that's been happening with regards to the new interchange and Dixie Plaza, and I'll get to that in just a second as well. So that will be coming up, and we'll make sure that we get lots of notice out to everybody through the Ratepayer Association, and also through my channels as well. We'll look to do that. This year as well, just within the community itself, is one that focused a lot of time working collaboratively with the community to try to get some traffic calming done. I know it's been I guess an issue of angst for a lot of people in the community, and for good reason. So we've done a number of measures there to help combat traffic and try to bring things in, not to grind everybody to a halt, but just at the same time make sure that we're a little bit safer, and we feel safe out on our streets. And I guess one of the things mentioned was our new street signs, and I was extremely proud and happy to collaborate with the Ratepayers Association to bring in the new street signs into Sherway, and we literally got them just in the nick of time from them going to scrap the old ones to go up for auction. So I'm absolutely delighted that some money was raised, and that we can put that right back into the community. So that's great. When it comes to, I guess, we've got Dixie Plaza. And so with Dixie Plaza, some may recall a few years ago, there was an initial meeting at Dixie Mall. This was before the pandemic. And so their overture, the group that owns that plaza, a group called Slate, they said, well, what do you think? I said, what you really should do is go out. If you don't have anything preconceived, please go out, speak with the communities. introduce yourself, see what people want, because it has been a topic of nervousness, and I think rightfully so, in our collective communities for years. And so when that came forward, they did that. I thought there was some really good input that people were bringing forward, from some restaurants to again having discount retail in there, of course keeping the discount grocery store, and possible movie theater, this type of thing. And so when they came back and said, well, you know what, we've got some ideas and we'd like to bring them forward, and what I had said to people is, those people, I said, what you really should do is you should be meeting with the ratepayers associations. They've got a good ear to the ground and a finger on the pulse of what's happening. And that's what they did. They had a series of these meetings, showed people essentially what Jamie was describing earlier. And I think everybody's collective, including my jaws, all hit the floor when we heard what their thoughts were, to the point where I think it rattled them enough to go back and give things another thought. That's my hope, is what they're looking to do, because they were actually going to submit something last spring, and then it was going to be early this past fall, and I've heard nothing in the near future that's coming out there. So let's all hope that they've listened to what the communities had to say, through our ratepayers associations, and then also through the city, which this is not a major node of any stretch. It is a neighborhood. It's still deemed a neighborhood. Next, I just wanted to touch on the Lakeview Golf Course. Some may wonder what's going on with the Lakeview Golf Course. And first of all, it celebrated its 125th anniversary this year. But the other part is the creek that goes through, the Applewood Creek that goes through the golf course, is going to be remediated. And so all of those cages and the stones, if you've been through the golf course, those are all coming out, and that whole creek is going to be naturalized, but it's also going to be able to handle more water flow as well on the event that we get those 100-year storms. So that's all getting done over the winter time. And then in the spring, they're going to be opening the course for 9 holes, and then getting into the second half of the summer, it's going to be open to the full 18. So just to give you a little bit of a heads up on that. And also, I wanted to mention that we recently did another one of our speaker series, and that the focus of that was planning related, because I know that there's a lot of questions out there. It's a pretty confusing and very aggressive area right now, and so we recently held that. It was a virtual, but we also recorded that. So that is available if you'd like. It's on my website. And also I know that we can get it circulated as well through Shora. And what's covered there is the Planning Act, the official plan that's mandated on the city, and what the appeal process is like, because a lot of changes, and we've got some really good speakers that spoke to those. Other things, just a few others, is we've got an Indigenous Arts Walk, which was started. Had the Mississaugas of the New Credit, another group called the Eagle Spirits of the Great Waters, and also several in the community. We've all worked collaboratively on a 4.5 kilometer trail at right around the mouth of the Credit River and the lake, right along the trail. That is going to be starting off. The first piece that was installed was actually at Hurontario and Lakeshore. Some may notice there's a sculpture there, a carving, and that's called The Dance. It's a jingle dancer that was carved by 2 local carvers, and they're out of basically where the Small Arms building is. And the gentleman's name is Sawmill Sid, is what he goes by. So it's if you haven't had a chance to see it, it's well worth seeing. We also had recently our 3rd annual Ward 1 Excellence Awards, and that it really showcases our local artists, our volunteers, our small businesses, and it's all, again, so thanks for everybody putting in your nominations, and a special congratulations, of course, to Grace Maniconi through Amazing Grace. she was a winner this year, and so congratulations to her. She does terrific work. Also, I just wanted to make mention, because there has been some questions with regards to the tennis courts. Finally, we've got the tennis courts going for redevelopment. And one thing I did mention to city staff is that this community has been promised those courts would be done for a few years now. And so we've really put the push on. They said that there's going to be, I think, about 4 or 5 courts across the city redone. And I said, well, that's wonderful. But quite frankly, Sherway has been in the queue the longest, and really they need to get done. So they started off, and you'll see all that work that's getting done there. The actual completion time is slated for May of 2022, when they can get back in the ground and finish things up. So that's looking to get done. And then also working with the Ratepayer group, and I just wanted to say thanks again to everybody with the Ratepayers, because I've got a one-time gas tax, and one thing that we're putting some money to work for is getting some precast chess tables that will be installed in Lawton Park, and so that's going to be coming up in the springtime. Those are actually just out to tender right now, and those will be done. And also, I do know that there has been some issues with regards to I think the playground as well. And so I'm going to be meeting with ISNA, and that's actually that's coming up next week. I'll be meeting with them to just talk about some of the concerns that have been going on there, see if we can get those addressed. And then, of course, one of the last is the Middle Road Bridge. We've got an anticipated completion date for April 2022, and the actual site, the work and everything starts off this coming Monday. And so come Monday, the bridge will be closed for the refurbishment of it. And again, it's not coming down or anything like that. It is literally getting refurbished. And what I've asked them to put on, and what they will be putting on, is an anti-graffiti coating that will be able to it's inevitable that somebody will end up coming along and spray painting the bridge, unfortunately, but we're having it so that it's easy for it to be cleaned up and make sure that it looks the way it should in its great form. And then, of course, the last is this year was fantastic, because it was it was magical to see the baseball diamond come alive with 2 great community baseball games. And Chris and the gang just did a great job, and I was absolutely thrilled to have the diamonds cleaned up a bit just for our community play. And I wanted to say thanks again to Chris and everybody for letting me throw out the first pitch. And with that, I'll put it back over to Jamie, and thank you again for having me tonight.
Yeah, that's great, Stephen. I really want to thank you for all that you do for our community. I'm very excited to hear that you're able to get the anti-graffiti coating. I know, I've been pestering you for a while, and it's one of those things that I think, we really need. If anybody out in their community knows who Doughboy is, he's one of the local artists that likes to tag everything. I'd love to have a personal face-to-face meeting. So if anybody can arrange that, please let me know. But in all seriousness, I really think it's something that, it's really our main identity. It's on our street signs. It's something that we hold dear. And so having that bridge restored is something that just going to be wonderful for this neighborhood. I recognize that, with progress, there's times when things get shut down, and, we're already missing access through down, through Mary Curtis Park and all of that, with the QW bridge and the trail closed underneath. But the spring, it sounds like things will be back to normal, at least with the bridge. And I think that's great news. So really appreciate it. If you had a few minutes, Councillor, we wondered if you may take some questions from the group.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I think there was a question earlier. I'm just going to scroll up here. So, Chris, do you want to speak directly, or would you like me to read out?
I think the question is with regards to the
Yeah.
QEW bridge and having, I guess, some an accessible component with bike, run, walk under the QEW bridge.
Yeah.
When it comes to that part of the design component, I'm not sure. And I don't mean to pass the buck by any stretch. It's just it's an MTO project. But one thing that I would like to do is have our Peel commissioner maybe address some of what's coming with regards to Dixie, because that was actually a topic today at regional council. So maybe we can provide a little bit more on that. But honestly, I just don't want to speak about something that I don't have full knowledge on. But I will get some information for you.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, so Jamie Hunt had raised his hand and he's got a question. I don't know if you want to speak directly, Jamie, or if you want to chat. I'll leave it up to you, however you want to address it. So if you unmute your line, you're able to talk. Otherwise, please put your question into the chat window. And I guess we're waiting. I'd invite others to queue up any questions, again, through speaking, unmuting yourself, or in the chat function.
Oh, I think Jamie's saying his line is muted.
Hmm.
If that's the case, maybe if you want to type it into the box or something, be happy to.
Yeah, I had this problem earlier. My apologies. I'm trying to unmute, but for whatever reason, it's not allowing me to do it.
Should be able to unmute themselves.
Yeah, others seems to be able to talk, so
Councillor Dasco, it's Ryan Enright here. While Jamie Hunt is typing in their question, and we're talking about speeding, could you give a little insight on the new we'll call them speed radar signs that post your own speed? I noticed there was just one that looks a little more permanent that was put up on it would be Denise, close to Sherway, so on the northbound. If you're in a car going up to the north end of the neighborhood, you can see it. It looks pretty new. Is that part of the Vision Zero program, or is that was that more of a specific location that they were put in, et cetera?
Stephen, you're.
Thank you. Yes, I was just saying that there's some areas in the ward that we've had more concerns with regards to speeding in the community than others. And so one thing that I've asked for is for our traffic people to record a lot of this, and the reason for it, and that's why you get the flashing signs and that. Aside from them flashing saying that you're going too fast, is it collects the data. So what it does is if somebody's going by at say 55 kilometers an hour and it should be 40, that's getting recorded. So when traffic calming measures are looked at, that's something that is looked at is the recorded data that goes through. So if somebody is going through, if the average speed, for example, is 30 kilometers an hour and it's a 40, then that is captured as well. But that's what that tends to do. It's a right in your face kind of show of, by the way, this is your speed. Catch your attention, but at the same time, it also captures that to make sure that you slow down a little bit. And so none of those are full time, but they have a certain amount for the city. And I always put in to have them circulating around the ward and to make sure that that we've got a presence going on in the ward, because that's one thing that's always an issue, especially with our police right now. There's a new chief. at the police. His name is Nish, Chief Nish, as most people call him, and he's done some incredible work trying to get back to community-based policing. But what he's been doing is he's been using a lot of data that he's been capturing, and so that's what he does. Is he uses that. There's something else called Road Watch, and that all goes into to traffic calming. Also, some other measures that have been done. I think Jamie's asking here what measures are being done to address the situation in terms of speeding. Let's see.
I've actually just been able to unmute my
Oh, there you
unmute
are.
my mic.
Hi, Jamie.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
perfect.
Hi.
Yeah, go ahead, please. Yeah.
Yeah, no, thanks for joining us tonight. Yeah, so my question was really just to understand what measures are being done to address the speeding situation. I know there were the signs that were posted to say, speeding cameras are going to be coming in. So I'm just wondering, is that something that is still coming in? If it's not, are there other measures that are going to be implemented?
Yes. So, and thanks for asking the questions, really, because I know that it's a significant issue. And so some of the things we started off with when we were granted the ability through the province to come in with I guess lowering our posted rates of speed. I jumped all over that, and so what I stressed with our traffic people, and it's just one of several measures, not suggesting by any stretch that it would be the silver bullet, but it was the default speed is 50 in our communities, which again, far too fast, because the streets by and large were built a little bit wider, and also they're undefined. So when they're like that, people just tend to go a little faster, and so we brought the speeds down to 40 as the new posted rate. The other thing is we brought in some traffic calming lines, give some more definition to the streets. It's not to say that you can't park in these particular lines. There's the yellow center line with the two white edge lines that you can't park there. It's just to give a little bit more definition to help people pay a little bit more attention to what they're doing. We then brought in the two stop signs. This is for Sherway, itself. And also on Denise, we brought in some traffic calming there, and then also initiated the Slow Streets program. And again, it's a pilot. It was initiated first in 2020, and it's something that I thought, it's worth trying, because it's not something that is carved in stone right into our roads. They can get taken out at the end of the season, when the plows come in that. But let's see, and if it makes a bit of a difference. Some people have said to me they get in my way. Well, to be very honest, they're supposed to get in your way, and to make people slow down and pay attention. So that's just one measure. Then the other is the automated speed enforcement, and what's interesting, and I think to your point too, Jamie, is that what they did when they're rolling out the program. So there's 2 cameras per ward right across the city, and there's 11 wards. In case everybody doesn't know, there's 11 wards across the city. So when they're doing these, it's they basically said to myself and all the other councillors and the mayor, and they said, hey, by the way, don't give us your input now, because we're using all the data that we've been collecting, and we'll determine. And that's from people calling in saying it's very fast, to things like those signs that flash saying slow down, to also people using things like Road Watch. They gather all of that information, and then they pick the top streets in terms of school areas. And so the automated speed enforcement right now is only in school zones. And so that's how that works. So the way that it's been mandated is that there's at least a 90-day heads up that automated speed enforcement's coming, so it doesn't catch anybody by surprise. It's not like kind of in the old days where they have the white van parked on the side of the road, and it's puts everybody into a flurry. It's very, very upfront and transparent. So it is coming. It is coming. It will be deployed, and when they do go in, they go in for a month. And then they move on to their next location. So right now we've got Sherway is marked off. And then also we've got on Mineola so at Huron, Ontario and Mineola, right by Port Credit Secondary School. That's another location as well. So those are two right now that are identified, and they should be coming pretty soon. The one thing that because they did start them off, there was one already out on Mississauga Valley. If you're familiar with that area, that's just I guess right around here, Ontario and Fairview in that particular area. So that was I think one of the highest rates of speed out front of a school zone in the city. So that they had piloted first. So that was that was the first one there.
Okay.
And so those are just a few measures, Jamie. But please, if there's some others, like I see what you're mentioning with regards to proverbs and tow trucks, definitely if you could get me a little bit more information on that. If you happen to have some time of day, that's really what would be really helpful, and I can get that into 12 division, so they can use that to come by and patrol a little bit more often.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. I appreciate that. I guess being that we've been working at home now for the last 20 months, and I sit here at my dining room table and look out into the street, all times a day I can see cars that are zipping through here. So much to the point that my 3.5-year-old daughter can also say, "Look how fast they're going." Right. So while I appreciate that the speeding cameras will be in for a period of a month, it's what happens outside of that, right? And we just need to make sure that there's some consistency there so that people that are within the neighborhood or people that are just passing through are also abiding by it.
Yeah, 100%. And also just to let you know, they will be coming in for a month, but it's not to say that it will only be for a month and you'll never see them again. They're on a rotational basis, just like those flashing signs. So based on the data that's still collected, you'll probably see them back again.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions for Councillor Dasco? For anyone?
Oh, and my apologies. I didn't see it was Kazia that was mentioning about Proverbs. So yeah, Kazia, if you could just get me some of that information in terms of times a day, and also Jamie, if you've got some of that information too, please just let me know.
Yeah, Councillor, I just, from my point of view, because I live by the off-ramp on North Service Road by Brentano, I am where they end up. And so they sit at the end of that. They're there every day, all day. And, they'll go out for a call and come racing back in the neighborhood and wait for the next victim. So I don't know if there's any real rhyme or reason in terms of timing. They don't seem to be on any particular cycle. I would love to see something done, but when I talked to people in the past about tow trucks, they tend to have scanners and other things like that. So, they would leave before anybody would ever show up. So, if there's other ideas on what we can do in terms of safety there, but yeah, it's just, it can be incredibly dangerous. Some of the things I've seen in the last few years living here, with tow trucks and that type of thing. So.
Councillor Dasco, just wondering, it's Jamie again. Is it possible for somebody to maybe put your email address in the chat so that we can, message you when we do have these issues?
Oh, sure.
Or would you prefer that we coordinate through the Shore board?
Oh, anything works. I'll put my email down right now, just if anybody would like to take it, and also I'll put down my my office number as well.
That would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
All right, got it.
There we go.
Excellent. Thank you, Councillor Dasco. Really appreciate your time this evening and fitting us into your busy schedule during these holiday season.
And anytime, really.
Yeah. But no, we're definitely looking forward to a number of updates, changes in the spring with the courts, with the chess tables, having Middle Road Bridge done. I think, next spring will be a great time around Sherway, and hopefully things are still open where we can all enjoy it. So again, thank you once again. If there's no other questions, we'll proceed on. And so at this point in time, it's really the closing comments. I really appreciate everybody joining us for this last hour and a bit. Hopefully the information that you've received is useful. If anybody wants more information on anything that you've heard tonight, wants to find out more about the community, about Shora, about how to reach out to different government departments such as Councillor Dasco, please feel free to reach out to us. The one thing I thought might be ideal at this point in time is to invite some of the neighbors that have been around for a period of time. If there's anything that they wanted to reflect on, Shorey is celebrating its 45th year, and there's a lot of history there. And I just wondered if there might be any stories, and I suppose failing that, if anybody had any past pictures or kind of interesting documents, past flyers, or anything, that messaging that we may be able to incorporate into future newsletters, it would just be kind of neat to be able to show a little bit of the past and really where this association started. There's a number of people that have had their hand in it. I think it's a wonderful concept, and so just wanted to open up to the floor and see if there's anybody that has anything from the past that others who perhaps haven't lived here that long might find interesting. And so I'll just put it out there. Ex-Argo coach. Okay. I'm surprised Colonel Sanders didn't come out, right, with something like that. But yeah, that's the other one I've heard of. Not necessarily Shore directly, but apparently Harlan Sanders had lived in the community, I think, before he passed. So, oh, sorry. So, Chris, you were suggesting that the coach was one of the founding people of Shore. Can you unmute? Do you have any other details on this?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I thought I saw a document once, or maybe I heard it at one of your original meetings that he was one of the founders of the Ratepayer Association.
Yeah, he very well could be.
What was
He was actually my neighbor at one point in time, and I'm sure there's many people on this phone that know him much better than I did.
Are you talking about Leo Cahill?
Yeah, Leo Cahill.
He lived next door to you.
Yeah. I didn't realize he was an ex-Argo coach, though.
No, he wasn't.
Okay.
Not the same guy.
Oh,
gotcha. Okay.
No, he was with General Electric.
Okay.
He was one of the signatories on the 10 of us that formed the Homeowners Association. I was the first president. Leo was sort of almost like our legal counsel. He was head of the GE Credit Union down on Dufferin Street. But a guy, Dick Day, was another fella. He was with, I think, Canada Life, and he got the documents originally done by the corporate lawyer for Canada Life.
Wow.
There was a lot of, at that time, the mayor or the councillor was Ron Searle, and who encouraged me to get together and maybe form some sort of group, which was the Sherway Homeowners. That's where it got formed. He says, if you want to stick together as a group, he said, you'll probably get more done rather than individually. And it has evolved. And I'm telling you, as the first board member, and I look ahead and what's gone through over the years, the last 45 years, I'm really proud of this community. I've lived here 50 years now.
Wow.
I've seen a lot of changes, but at the same time, we want, we're comfortable where we are, and we got to keep anybody from intruding and turning over our quality of life. And I think that's where your board comes in, and the members staying in touch. You've got good communication, fantastic. you're using all of social media, and I think that's wonderful. So congratulations to the board and all the members and Stephen Dasco. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it's great, Bill. Appreciate that little bit of history. It's just people find themselves in positions, and we kind of rebooted for similar reasons, right? We had the stormwater ponds that were being threatened, and it's great to see people come together in times of cause, and in other times when there's not pressing issues, we can still fill a void and provide assistance to different homeowners and value across the community. So, Bill, really appreciate you taking the first steps to start this thing, and I'm pleased that I can continue to limp it along here and make sure that that this association stays strong. So, but really want to recognize you. None of this would have happened if it weren't from you, thinking about the community and taking these initial steps. So,
you guys
good
are
on
doing
you
a
and
great
thanks.
job, guys and gals.
Yeah. Anybody else want to share anything? All right, doesn't really look like it. So I guess I'll put a motion to adjourn this meeting. Really appreciate everybody joining. And if we could have someone first and second that would be great, and we can
Hey, Jamie.
adjourn the movie.
It's Ryan chiming in. I'll second that motion.
Okay, excellent. Okay, well, thank you once again, folks. Really appreciate everybody's time. Any additional details that are required, please feel free to reach out. We've got lots of volunteer positions open, and we're looking at making some changes and providing more value to the community. So, don't be afraid to get involved and, support your local community. Thank you so much.
Keep up the great work, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Okay, so we're all gone.
Well, I kind of tried to record because I figured, you know what?